Dumelang, Sanmarani, Habsheni, Mangwanani. Greetings. I am so thrilled to be able to connect with you on this section where we're dealing with strategy for social enterprise. My colleagues, Anthony, Karen, and Lauren, have already taken you through the introduction to social entrepreneurship, effectuation and entrepreneurial mindset, context for social entrepreneurship, as well as systems thinking. Mine is to be able to position the key subject that I know for a fact a good many of you have already been through in order to be able to appreciate the setting up of the business you're a part of. My name is Boyane Zwane. I originate from Mhlabialingana in northern KwaZulu-Natal. I have been part of the faculty of Gibbs from about 2003. So my conversation with you is really steeped in academia as well as business. It is a joy and an honor to be able to engage with you when we're needing to be able to position the whole concept of strategy in an environment within which so much has shifted. So much has happened as a result of the pandemic that has been with us most recently. Of lockdown in our country, it has become all the more critical for us to really not just play with the words of pivoting, but really reorientate ourselves into setting up our enterprises such that they can overcome all kinds of challenges and indeed they can be sustainable and carry on to the future. I'm thrilled to be able to be a forerunner to the presentation you'll be getting hereafter from Professor Anastasia Mamabulu, who will be using the social business model canvas in order to help you to take your own business and the business that you are employed in to a much greater level, higher level, and be impactful in the environment within which you operate. I am thrilled to also be able to indicate to you that as we engage together, and you've already read through part of the material, because I'm convinced that you not only just going to be taking what is on the audios, you're also reading, you're also watching YouTube recordings that we share with you. I want to believe that you are looking at this presentation as something that just adds on and builds onto what you already know. So let's go forward. My colleagues have introduced and contextualized social entrepreneurship. It is for me then to be able to take this discussion a little bit further. I want it to be centered around the concept of strategy. And of course, you had an appreciation of the fact that strategy has a lot to do with the lay of the land, understanding how you are going to navigate what is in front of you. There are many forces that will come your way that may impede on or propel your execution of your strategy. There would be at least three key areas that you're wanting to be able to look into. You have a good understanding of your environment, and therefore you develop a strategy that is responsive to that which you have assessed in your environmental scanning. What the needs are on the ground, what the needs are presently, and what the needs are going to be into the future. On the basis of that, you wanting to be able to distinguish yourself from any other who may be in the same sector as yourself, same industry as yourself, but are addressing the area that you're going into in a way that is not really resonating as well as you believe it needs to be. In the development of strategy, therefore, you're wanting to be able to address what are the current needs that are there, who is already in the marketplace doing what you do, what makes them to be able to stand out, what is it that you truly love doing, so as to be able to make sure that you are not begrudging the occasions when you are engaging in the work that you need to do. execution of strategy is usually the area where most enterprises and most entrepreneurs struggle. And it is at that point that you get to be able to think about hiring someone to be able to advance the execution thereof. There are various models that are shared, and I will share with you the 4 disciplines of execution of strategy because I have found in working with this with more than 1,500 companies all around Southern Africa and the world actually, that without a well worked out, disciplined approach to strategy execution, you end up with a whole lot of people who are disheartened, in fact, hate the reference to strategy. Many in the country, in South Africa in particular, have been familiarized with the National Development Plan 2030. But we realize that as we draw closer to 2030, we realize we have not really done the necessary to deliver on the promise. Not much has been done. Many of the projects remain just in writing. Nothing has come through, and it has had nothing to do with COVID-19. So it is important for us to be able to look into ensuring that our strategy does get to be executed. Your enterprise needs to be able to be sustainable. It will be sustainable when you are deliberate in terms of how you build the capacity in your organization, how you are connecting to the enterprises around you, and you're making sure that it is an adaptable organization. It is responsive, it is agile, and it is able to pick up when there is a slack on one side and build so as to be able to make sure that the future is one that is thrilling. I'd like for you to be able to, on a regular basis, make it a point that you review your work and you constantly plan ahead, just like you do. When you drive, you are going to be checking your dials in your vehicle, and you will be looking to see if the information coming through from Siri or whoever you are having as a voice over on your Waze or your Google Maps is talking to you, they will be sharing with you how far you are from arriving at your destination. So review how far you've gone with your business and then plan ahead so as to be able to be sure that you've got the right resources, be they people and otherwise, to be able to take you to the destiny that you've set for yourself. Being a social entrepreneur suggests that you already are conscious of what's happening in the society around you, that you are driven more about how you can be of service to society. Well, as we always appreciate, it's not so much the products or services that matter. It is our ability to respond to the pain that is in there and provide a solution. Jeff Henderson released a book. Jeff Henderson in 2020 released the book Know What You Are For, which really has a way of helping us as agile social entrepreneurs to be able to find ways in which what we do is truly responsive, not so much about us being the best in the world, but being the best for the world. And of course, the book is entitled in the same way, Know What You Are For. You already have listened to the podcast in which he is addressing himself on this particular subject matter. But I think it's important to be able to just bring it and reiterate that when you're clear about your purpose, it will not be an issue at all as to how you become profitable in conducting your business. When your purpose is clear, your rising up in the morning becomes a whole lot easier. But as a person who is responding to societal requirements, societal needs, it becomes important to be able to think about who is truly your customer and fashion your solutions around that which will be appealing to the customer, who will later on become the very person who is an ambassador for the kind of services you're rendering. Setting your team inside your own organization. Sometimes you may be a team of 1 or you may be a team of 100, depending on the enterprise within which you're operating. But when you've got a team that is aligned to core purpose, your business interactions, your engagements are going to be so much richer, so much more fitting to the environment that you wanted to be able to get into. It is for this reason that I'd like to be able to emphasize that when we're working on the model that Jeff Henderson presents, we work from the outside in, looking from society to customer to team, and then looking after ourselves. So many have suffered burnout through the months and years of the pandemic. When we're not taking good care of ourselves, we find that the business owns us when in fact we wanting to be able to own the business. It is for me, therefore, to encourage you to be able to make sure that you are good for you, good for your team, good for your customer, and good for society. As you contemplate what you are for, the beginning point, obviously, is what is it that other people need out there? Guess what's going to happen? You'll be operating with mission. And when what you love and that which is needed aligns to your talent, what will exude will be your passion. But of course, you can be mission directed, passion directed. If you don't get paid for what is coming through, well, you might as well be a charity organization. But even charity organizations require donations from someone. So when there is a marriage between your talent and your what you get paid for, you become a professional entrepreneur, a professional business person. Connect what the people need and what you get paid for. You have a vocation. Mark Twain said it many years ago. When your vocation meets your vacation, you will never need to look for a job at all. Why is that? Because there is love in expression of work. When you look into the intersection of people's needs, what you love, your talent, and what you get paid for, your purpose becomes very clear. It is this that I'd like for you to be able to contemplate as you reflect on your own business. Is it purpose driven? Are you purpose driven? Because when you are, it is going to be easy to know what you are here for. We strongly believe that business exists in order to be able to address specific needs, that the stakeholders out there, they've got specific needs. When those needs are there and they're looking for somebody who can fulfill them, they will be checking what results they've gotten up until now. Your opportunity arises when you can compare what the organization is needing and what has been delivered up until now, and you can have your unique proposition. What is also going to be able to come through and be very clear is that you need to have your purpose statement, which we spoke to earlier, as very clear to you that anyone who's part of the organization will be able to understand when they rise up every morning, this is my core purpose. Purpose executed with excellence translates into your vision. If you are able to articulate your purpose very well and you can get everybody to be excited about it, it provides clear vision for where you're going to. Solomon said it beautifully. Where there is no vision, people perish. So for you as an entrepreneur, clarity of vision is going to be extremely vital. But to get things done, you need to be able to articulate human behaviors that are coming through in defined value statements. What are your values? Now, here I want to be able to challenge you to avoid falling into the trap of taking on values that anybody and everybody gets to be able to have in their list, because they will not distinguish you. For argument's sake, most people argue that and they state that they are driven by integrity. But we expect that when you do business, that you are going to be a person of honesty. We expect you to be integrous in your conducting of business. It is for that reason, therefore, that it is vital for you to identify what are the values that set you apart from anybody else. From there, you are able to articulate a key strategy through which you're going to be able to address the needs of the customer, the needs of the other stakeholders that are linked through. You will therefore need to be able to ensure that you've got very clearly worked out processes. Indeed, the business model is a process and framework that we're going to be able to utilize to take your organization forward. You will also have to appreciate that your organizational structure plays a big part in ensuring that you are effective in executing on your promise. The systems you put in place ensure that you don't have to personally be there all the time to ensure business execution takes place. Finally, it is important for you to be able to think, what is the mindset that drives the way people behave? The paradigms play a significant role in how people deliver, how they see themselves in relation to your organization, how you yourself see yourself in relation to the organization and in relation to your key customer. When you think about those, you will notice that mind has a way of informing body how to respond. And when the paradigms in place, the mindsets and the pictures we have are aligned to, and I want to be able to venture into this right at the beginning, to excellence, you will find that everybody inside the organization will be able to rise up to that challenge. It is this then that begins to define the culture of your organization. We will discuss culture in other settings. This program is in the early stages right now. But I'd like for you to be able to consider this one thing that says whatever culture you develop will be instrumental in the execution of your strategy. Peter Drucker said it, and it is repeated over and over. Culture eats strategy for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, and the snacks in between. It is vital, therefore, that you ensure you have a culture that matches that which you promised to your customers, your clients, your various stakeholders who are interested in what you provide. For well over a century, we've seen businesses growing from a variety of stages, morphing, as it were, from agrarian economy all the way to the knowledge economy that we operate within right now. In that period, various approaches to conducting business have been presented through strategic frameworks that are utilized in variety of enterprises. In fact, Harvard Business School professor Michael Porter has been considered as a primary guru of the nowadays, as it were. Well, back in the 1970s, he came with the 5 forces that influence strategy. Over a decade ago, there was a book written by a collaboration of W. Chen Kim and Renee A. Mabone called Blue Ocean Strategy, which is going to be the key reference point we're going to be able to utilize right now as we come to appreciate that this century requires you to be able to disrupt or be disrupted. If we are going to be able to engage in a manner that enables you to be able to disrupt what is happening out there, which is you create uncontested market space and make the competition irrelevant, you would need to be able to understand the distinction between operating in a red ocean and operating in a blue ocean. What is the difference between the two? Effectively, operating in a red ocean is where you are competing within an existing marketplace. You are seeking to be able to beat the competition. You capture more of the existing demand while you make a trade-off between value and cost. Blue Ocean, on the other hand, affords you a chance to create new markets altogether, make the competition irrelevant, and create new demands altogether. And as you do that, what you will also be able to do is to disprove that there has got to be a trade-off between value and cost. As we go further into the work that we're going to be embarking on, I'd like for you to take some time to be able to adopt or engage with your business with an approach of creating a blue ocean environment. There are going to be 4 factors that we are going to be able to utilize, and we're going to ask you to take and engage as an activity on these 4 actions. As you review your business, it would be necessary to be able to contemplate that which is provided for by the Blue Ocean Strategy. It provides a 4-action framework through which we can actually really look into how we've been faring in industry and in business and start asking which of the factors that industry takes for granted should be eliminated altogether that we as a company have been providing. Second, what factors should be reduced well below industry standard? Because everybody expects them, but they're not really adding value. Thirdly, you start looking into which factors should be raised well above industry standard so as to distinguish us so that others may want to be able to do business with us. And fourth and finally, it is to be able to consider which factors should be created that industry has never offered, and that affords you a space to come through as an innovator. When you do that, you will find that you are a value creator. Put differently, eliminating and reducing are the factors that have to do and focus themselves on cost management and cost containment. While on the other hand, raising and creating is about increasing value and making things come through for the better. It is for this reason, therefore, that I'd like to encourage you to take seriously, spend some time reviewing your business. And next thing we do is an activity that I want you to be able to engage with wholeheartedly, because it will mean a difference between success and a repeat of what may have been done by others but did not yield the results that they are proud of, and you should not fall prey of the same. The first activity is one wherein I invite you to be able to look into which factors that the industry takes for granted should be eliminated altogether. You are in the industry, you have a good appreciation, so take some time to reflect on that, write it down, and you may want to be able to put this on the discussion board. I now invite you to a second area that is vital in terms of dealing with cost containment. Which factors should be reduced well below the industry standard? Factors that your company has been trapped into delivering on them, but essentially the value that the customer gets out there is minuscule. What could you reduce well below the industry standards and still remain competitive in your business space? The first area of value creation is an opportunity of looking into factors that should be raised well above the industry standard, which when you deliver them, they will make your customer. The second area for value creation and fourth aspect in terms of the 4-action framework is your consideration of factors that should be created that the industry has never offered before. It's an opportunity for you to be innovative. Consider those. Spend some time, engage with that. Former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt said it beautifully. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. As an entrepreneur, you have specific dreams and you would want to be able to have them fulfilled. And in your enterprise and its association and ongoing relationship with Exaria, you are going to be able to fulfill your dreams. Go for it with everything in you. Returning to the work of Jeff Henderson in knowing what you are for, as an entrepreneur and leader of your business, you want to stay on purpose. The area of purpose is in paying attention to the two stakeholders, yourself and society. Society is out there constantly monitoring the effect you have on them as you draw employees from there and you play your part in that society as a responsible corporate citizen. But doing all of that when you are feeling strange and having out of body experience will mean that the enterprise is not an embodiment of yourself. Therefore, pay attention to why you started the business in the first place. Leave out that which drove you to set up the business. An effective entrepreneur would ensure that they're working on the business and they hire people who will work in the business. Those who work in the business are the managers who ensure the profitability of your business. Therefore, you delegate the responsibility to your manager to always know and understand what is the customer's need. Are we meeting the customer's need? And secondly, are they mobilizing the teams and ensuring that they are all aligned to the core mission and vision that you established for the business? Through this, you are able to monitor effectiveness of the performance of your teams. Literary author and poet George Bernard Shaw many years ago articulated that this is true joy in life, being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. That links back to what we just heard from Jeff Henderson. Being thoroughly worn out before you are thrown on the scrap heap. Being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. That is extracting from society and nature. He further says, life is no brief candle to me. It's sort of a splendid torch which I have got a hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. This is about legacy. When you think about the sustainability of your business, this is where your joy will be. When your grandchildren look back with pride at what you have begun and what you have established, and it has had impact on so many people out there. Being purpose driven requires to be able to answer three key questions for yourself and for your team. When you think about your company in relation to its delivery at Exaro, what is the specific job that your customer in Exaro is hiring you to do? Because there are many other people out there who are delivering variety of services. But what do they hire you to do? Why you in the first place? The second, which has to do with strategy, is the strategic link. How does your team, your organization connect to Exara's mission and strategy and your company's mission and strategy? Spend some time reflecting on that. And finally, look into your money-making or resource generation model. How does your team contribute to the economic model of your organization as well as the economic model of Exaro, your primary customer? When you're clear about those, your team purpose statement is going to be easy. Answer all three questions: the job to be done, your strategic link, and your money-making model. You are in business to generate as much money as possible while at the same time doing good. Your organization will do exceptionally well when you have clarity of your end in mind. In my time working with the late Dr. Stephen R. Covey, The second habit of highly effective people is begin with the end in mind. I'd like to believe that you are participating in this program with clarity of at least ensuring that when you go back to your organization and over the 8 months that you're going to be participating in this program, you will be able to enable top class performance for yourself, for your team, and for the whole organization as a whole. Secondly, you are going to take time to equip and grow leaders so as to free yourself to stay as a strategic thinker. Thirdly, you will make excellence the standard by which your organization is known. After all, excellence is a habit in itself. The story goes that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is a habit. Alas, so is mediocrity. If you take time to repeat all three of these, you will stand out as a business owner. Writing very early in the start of the 20th century, L. Nightingale said, "Success is a progressive realization of a worthwhile ideal." You are part of this program. There are some key things that you have set for yourself. I'd like to believe that this engagement spurs you into delivering exceptional work for yourself, for the organization, for your customers, and indeed for South Africa. May it be your best year going forward.